We often think that humans have always been at the top of the food chain on planet Earth, but this isn't true. For millions of years before we evolved from our ape-like ancestors, life on Earth was very different. Hi, it's me, and this is Life Before Humans, Part 1. We're going to learn about what life on Earth was like before humans existed. Make sure to watch until the end to find out what caused the mass extinction that allowed humans to take over. When people think of prehistoric animals, they often imagine giant dinosaurs roaming the land. But dinosaurs only lived on Earth for a relatively short period of time. The first dinosaurs appeared during the Triassic period, around 230 million years ago. And although they dominated the Mesozoic era, which lasted until 66 million years ago, they went extinct before the first humans even appeared. So let's go back even further to the Paleozoic era. This era lasted from 541 to 252 million years ago and saw the first large-scale evolution of complex life on Earth. Although there were no dinosaurs, the Paleozoic era was home to many strange creatures that would be familiar to anyone who has ever played a game of Minecraft. The first vertebrates, or animals with backbones, appeared during the early Paleozoic era. These were the predecessors to all modern fish, and the lobe-finned fish were particularly diverse. Some of these ancient fish had fleshy, thick-skinned fins, which allowed them to move around on land. They were the first tetrapods, or four-footed vertebrates. Some scientists believe that these fish were the direct ancestors of all tetrapods, including amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals. Amphibians first appeared during the Devonian period, which lasted from 419 to 359 million years ago. They were the first vertebrates to live primarily on land, but they still needed to stay moist to survive. So they typically lived in shallow water or damp areas near water. The first frogs and toads appeared during this time, and some were around 300 feet long. Reptiles first appeared during the Carboniferous period, which lasted from 359 to 299 million years ago. They were the first vertebrates that could lay eggs on land, so they didn't need to stay close to water to survive. This allowed them to venture far from the shallow seas that covered much of Earth's landmass. As a result, the supercontinent of Gondwana, which was mostly dry land, became populated by a variety of reptiles, including the first dinosaurs. Although reptiles were the first vertebrates to lay eggs on land, birds evolved from a group of theropod dinosaurs, which were small, feathered reptiles that lived during the Jurassic period. Birds are the only living dinosaurs, and their ancestors first appeared around 230 million years ago. But what caused such a dramatic change in Earth's history? What allowed humans to eventually become the dominant species on the planet? It all started with a mass extinction. Although mass extinctions are relatively rare, they've been a natural process throughout Earth's history. At the end of the Cretaceous period, 75% of all species went extinct, including the dinosaurs. Although asteroids and comets are often blamed for mass extinctions, most of them are actually caused by gradual changes in sea level, temperature, and geology. At the end of the Cretaceous, the supercontinent of Gondwana began breaking apart, which changed ocean currents and led to a decrease in global temperatures. The climate change caused by the breakup of Gondwana may have also led to the extinction of the dinosaurs. However, it also allowed mammals to thrive. Mammals are a type of synapsid, a group of animals that first appeared during the Permian period. Synapsids were initially small proto-wombats that lived in the shadow of the dinosaurs. But after the mass extinction, they diversified and eventually gave rise to all modern mammals, including humans. Humans are primates. We belong to the biological family called Hominidae, which includes apes and monkeys. Our earliest ancestors were small proto-apes that lived in the forests of Africa around 25 million years ago. Over the next 20 million years, several different species of early hominids evolved, including Australopithecus afarensis, better known as Lucy. Finally, Homo sapiens, or modern humans, first appeared around 300,000 years ago in Africa. Humans gradually spread across the continent and eventually migrated out of Africa and into Europe and Asia. By 12,000 years ago, humans had spread to every part of the world. We hunted large game with spears and lived in small groups or tribes. We made tools out of stone, wood, and bone and developed complex languages. Humans began to farm crops and raise livestock around 10,000 years ago. This led to the development of towns and cities and eventually nation-states. And here we are today, standing on the top of the food chain. But despite our many accomplishments, humans have caused several mass extinctions and are currently in the process of destroying their own habitat. In 12,000 years, will there be another mass extinction caused by human activity? Or will we find a way to live in harmony with nature? Only time will tell. All life on Earth is connected. Whether we're talking about dinosaurs, early humans, or giant prehistoric wombats, we all have a shared history. So, what do you think life will be like 12,000 years from now? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out our other videos about prehistoric animals and the history of life on Earth. Thanks for watching. See you next time.